Farewell Suzuki came as a blow to Rins when he heard about Suzuki's drastic decision to quit MotoGP again. After Suzuki made its way back to MotoGP in 2015, the financial troubles they faced the last time around, towards the end of 2011, have finally caught up with them again. So, as the season of 2022 is now over, Suzuki closed their curtains down. Hopefully for all their fans, they will decide to jump back into MotoGP sometime in the future. It was a shocking announcement, to say the least, for its riders and staff when they announced it way back in May. Also, it will no longer be taking part in any motorcycle endurance races because of financial reasons. Suzuki's race team were all caught off guard with the decision, especially considering that Suzuki had recently chosen a new manager, and Alex Rins and Joan were in the process of discussing the extension of their contracts. It's a big blow for both riders. Originally, Suzuki signed a deal to race to the end of 2026 with Dorna Sports, but it was finally decided in August to terminate the contract. At the Australian Grand Prix, Rins was asked whether he understood why Suzuki had made such a decision, and he commented that he did not. Rins had spent some time with Toshiro-san on a couple of occasions, but he did not directly ask him why he was putting an end to the race team. He had dined with the whole team, the president and a few Japanese staff, and said the decision greatly affected Toshiro from my perspective, dedicating a win to leaving Suzuki. A couple of days before the Australian Grand Prix, Rins had claimed his fourth win in MotoGP, and his very first in 2 years after a tight battle with Marc Marquez and Francesco Bagnaia. The MotoGP title had been greatly affected by Fabio Quartararo making a surprise DNF. At the same time, Aleix Espargaro had the poor performance, allowing Bagnaia to take the lead in the MotoGP standings, having 14 points. Alex kept his cool and won at Phillip Island, making it a hat-trick of wins for him in every class. Rins was happy with his performance, especially since it would be the last time he would race with Suzuki on the island. Rins tests the improved Suzuki machine one last time, with just a few races to go before Suzuki put an end to its project at the end of the season in 2022. Most people had expected Suzuki to keep going with what it had until the end of the season. Surprisingly, that is different from what Suzuki did, especially when Alex Rins showed up with a new set of wings on his GSX-RR during practice races for the Japanese Grand Prix. There were a lot of concerns about how the curved protrusions that were kind of like horns would affect the bike's performance, but Rins had something different to say. After doing all he could to make sure he would be the first person to give them a test, the effect they created impressed him. Rins commented, saying that what the Japanese engineers told him after, and what he had felt was the same thing. The engineers did not say anything to him before he tried them out because they did not want to influence his decision. The bike had more stability at the back while braking, and in the second run, he could brake much later than the first run, allowing him to make it to the corners much faster. The bike had better contact in the rear tires and shook less, leaving him quite impressed, especially because Suzuki was not used to making them that fast. But this time, they had done just that. It is funny that before Rins actually tested them, he had only known about them a day before and that a test rider was also needed. He immediately made his way to the Japanese guys and asked them to give him a chance to test them. At first, they did not want to, but they agreed to let him do the test if he would be competitive in the initial first minutes. Rins was still determining if the wings would be in the next races, and he had to do back-to-back runs to determine if they had a significant impact. Off to Honda. Moving forward for the 2023 season, Rins will join Honda and work with the LCR group. He and HRC have signed a factory deal that will last for 2 years. Rins would have raced for Gresini, but he chose not to because the contract was not a factory one. Joan Mir, Rins' current teammate, will join the factory Honda squad and partner with Marc Marquez next year, with Pol Espargaro making his way back to Tech 3 with the gas machinery that has been rebranded. We know Rins was very upset with having to leave Suzuki, and he did shed tears, but at least he gave them a great farewell send-off by winning the last race of the 2022 season. So, how did Alex make his way to Honda? Well, first we need to look back at the build-up that led him to the Honda garage. His career. Alex Rins has been a fan favourite with some very impressive performances on the track, but who is he? A quick look into his career will give us those answers. Rins was born in Barcelona and started his Moto3 career with Team Estrella Galicia 0.0. Rins' second meeting, which was at the Spanish Grand Prix, gave him a pole position. France gave him his first podium in third place. After that, he did not gain any more points but kept going consistently in the remaining part of the season, regularly finishing in the top 10. He finished in 5th position in the final standings, making him Rookie of the Year. In 2013, he still raced for Estrella Galicia 0.0 with Alex Marquez, a year that proved to be his breakthrough, while Luis Salom and Maverick Vinales dominated the season. Rins finished with 6 victories, 8 poles and 14 podiums. He was in the running for the title the whole season, but just finished behind Maverick Vinales with a difference of 12 points to take 2nd position. He was still racing for Estrella Galicia 0.0 in 2014. Still, his performances dropped that season, with him managing only 2 victories, 8 podiums and 4 pole positions, which were lower than what he had attained the previous year. He concluded the season in 3rd position overall in the Riders' Championship. For 2015, Rins made his way to Moto2 with Team Páginas Amarillas HP40 with a Calex machine. For the team sponsorship, his number was 40 for the races. Rins managed 2 victories and 10 podiums that season, while Johan Zarco dominated. He finished the season in 2nd position and was Rookie of the Year again. For 2016, he stuck with Team Páginas Amarillas HP40. Things started well that season for Rins, with victories in Austin and Le Mans, where he took 7 podiums. Towards the end of the season, however, his performance dipped somewhat, leaving him finishing the season in 3rd position. Rins joined the MotoGP class in 2017 as part of the Suzuki X-Star team, partnering up with Andrea Iannone, and switched his number back to 42. His first half of the season was drastically affected when in April, during a practice session in Texas, he broke his wrist and was unable to race until 2 months after at Assen. Luck was on his side because he completed 5th place in Japan, then 4th in Valencia's last round. A better Suzuki machine and no accidents in 2018 allowed Rins to contend for the podium consistently. As much as the season started with disappointments, when he retired 5 times in 9 races and only claimed 5 podiums and 2 second places in the final 2 rounds to gain 169 points. He managed to finish the season in 5th position. Ahead of the French GP in 2018, Rins signed a contract to extend his ride with Suzuki for another 2 years through to 2020. The 2019 season arrived and Rins was partnered with Joan Mir. He finished just outside the podium in Qatar and Argentina, then claimed a victory at the Americas 2019 Grand Prix, while battling Valentino Rossi after Marc Marquez retired. It was his first MotoGP class victory, and the first win for Suzuki since 2016, after Maverick Vinales won at the British Grand Prix in 2016, and their second Premier Class victory after making their way back to MotoGP. Alex completed the season with 205 points and took a 4th position in the championship, the best MotoGP finish he has ever had to date. Rins on his move to Honda. After an interview with Autosport, Alex revealed he was happy about his move to Honda because it would be a big challenge for him. He was very focused on taking a lot of tests during his season with Honda. Honda was at the time going through a difficult time, and when asked about how he was going to help Honda, Rins said that in the first months it would be like any rider moving to a new team. Difficult to help Honda in the initial stages because he needed some time to adapt to the new bike. After talking with Lucio, Honda was supposed to make a new bike for him for the coming new season. The fact that new riders had been having a difficult experience with Honda, that was not in his mind. He was just focused on getting his hands on the bike and giving a good performance. As much as he was happy to get a contract with Honda, Rins was still giving it his all with Suzuki so that he would gain even more experience. When Suzuki announced its retirement, he admitted he was somewhat scared at the time because he might have been left out in the cold and not riding a competitive bike. With a lot of experience and capacity to improve a bike, getting on an official bike was a top priority for him. Ducati had given him an opportunity, but he could not sign with them because they would not be able to provide him with an official bike. For 2023, Rins will be racing with LCR Honda after signing a contract lasting 2 years. The future looks promising, and Rins is more than ready for what is coming after he leaves Suzuki.